Hi, I'm Sean Sposito. I'm the Assistant Director of Content Strategy at the Christian Science Monitor. I'm with Katie Moussouris. Katie, you have lovely pink hair.
Thank
I love
you.
your ring. You're the CEO of Luta Security.
That's right.
Yeah. So Katie, we were having a conversation last week about kind of Vault 7, these WikiLeaks disclosures, and sort of what that says about the offensive marketplace. Like security researchers who sell exploit directly to the federal government. I mean, for you, did those specific disclosures unearth anything really specific about the incentives in the marketplace?
Well, I mean, governments are among the biggest buyers of 0 days and exploits. One, because it's a lot easier for them to source those from the open market, especially if it's in technology that they don't have in-house expertise to go ahead and find and write those exploits. So for me, it wasn't a big surprise. It was just a confirmation of the market that we know already exists in terms of buying 0 days and exploits for offense purposes. And it's not just governments who do it, it's organized crime and folks like that.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, like, what are some of those specific incentives, right, that researchers have to sell in the offensive marketplace rather than to sell in the defensive marketplace?
Well, the defensive marketplace, as you know, includes things like conventional bug bounties offered by vendors or even third parties like CDI.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are a lot lower prices in the defense market. And the reason for that is the offense market is not just paying for an exploit. The offense market is actually paying for silence and secrecy.
Yes.
So they're paying for exclusive use in a lot of cases for these exploits to live without being detected by antivirus or IDS, any kind of defensive
And you have to have
tools.
a reliable exploit, right? Which
Yeah.
is really difficult to create. It's really difficult to craft.
Right, so I mean, it has to be reliable, and sometimes they can only use it, especially if it's a particularly sensitive operation, they're only going to use a particular 0 day maybe once. And then once they use it, if they don't want to be tracked or have it attributed to them, they're going to probably use a different one. So, yeah.
But beyond cash, I mean, are there different incentives in the offensive marketplace? Like, are there different things that kind of spur researchers to make that money rather than this money?
Well, I think every human being has a combination of motivations, right? It's not just compensation. I call it compensation, recognition, and pursuit of intellectual happiness.
Okay.
And so for a lot of these researchers who end up selling to the offense market, compensation might be their priority at that time.
So it's also a challenge.
It's also a challenge, but they may also want to up their reputation in the community and up their name, in the world by going ahead and turning over some to the defense market or even selling to the defense market because it allows them to talk about it. Remember, I was saying the offense market buys that silence, so you don't get that recognition. You will get those other two, though.
Yeah, a really funny thing about AT&T's bug bounty program, not a lot of people were disclosing, and then they put up like this top 10 researcher thing, and then all these sort of folks start disclosing just because they want to be on that top 10 leaderboard.
Right.
I mean, that's something really fascinating about the defensive marketplace because there are incentives beyond cash.
Yeah.
And that's sort of not the conventional way we think about how people sort of keep the lights on.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people also use that recognition as a way to get additional business, a way to get consulting business, et cetera. So it's an advertisement in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's recognition, but it's recognition in the form of you are smart enough to have found a serious security hole and the company that you found it in is recognizing you. That was the Microsoft Bulletin credit, acknowledgement credit for so many years.
And when you were at Microsoft, you guys did similar things, right?
Right. And people were just, over 200,000 email messages a year were coming into secure at Microsoft before there was any cash money because they wanted their name in 12-point Arial font in that bulletin.
Cash money.
Cash money.
Cash money. Well, I mean, so the defensive market is like trying to catch up, right? I mean, we see AgileBit that runs 1Password, Google, Apple, Microsoft. Now they're offering like more than $100,000 to disclose really premier bugs. Mm-hmm. I mean, is that sort of a stab at kind of like keeping pace with the offensive marketplace, or?
Well, if it is, it's misguided.
Yeah.
I set the top bounty of the mitigation bypass bounty at Microsoft at $100,000 on purpose. One, those were very rare. It's a technique, not a single bug. Uh-huh. And two, the people who worked for Microsoft on the inside were already compensated at much more than $100,000 a year. Uh-huh. So there was no perverse incentive created by that price. Now you see some of these higher prices that come out for things that are less rare and less exquisite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And that actually creates some perverse incentives in the defense market. There was a Dilbert cartoon about it actually, like a few years ago, where it was like, we're going to start a bug bounty, and then Dilbert and his friend were like, I'm going to go write some code and write myself a minivan.
Yeah.
Because essentially you incent collusion, you incent collusion with the outside, you also incent people deliberately placing bugs in code. You also incent people quitting to make more money
like,
on the outside.
If I can make more money, like disclosing to a bug bounty program, and like I am like a real kind of elite hacker, and I already work inside one of these companies, I'm gonna leave to make more cash.
Yeah, absolutely. So they've really got to watch the perverse incentives, watch the perversion, people, But seriously, they do, because there is no practical way for the defense market to ever catch up with the offense market in terms of price. The offense market has no ceiling.
Yeah.
The defense market has a practical ceiling.
Exactly, because you have to have a framework if you're gonna have people disclose to you, and rules that everyone can abide by.
Yeah, and a ceiling based on the fact that you don't want these people to up and quit to make more money hacking your stuff than building your stuff.
Okay. Well, Katie, this has been really fascinating. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
All right, great.